So we've got the character moving. Now let's make it look proper when we move him around. So what we need to do is take the camera and attach it to the player so that when the player moves, the camera follows him. Easiest way to do that is, let's have a look at what's on the player. All of these game objects are the child objects of the player game object. We're just going to grab the main camera up here and drop it onto the player so that it's childed to the player. Now, when we have the main camera selected, we can see what that actually looks like over here. In that, this is the preview of what we're going to see in the game scene. So we can see the camera's in exactly the same place that it used to be. Now, instead of being attached to sort of the world, now it's attached to the player. So if we start the game up, and here we're going. So now when we move back and forth and rotate and go all our places, the camera stays attached to us, almost like there's a big stick sticking out the back of the guy and the camera's attached to it. So that's what's happening here. I don't like where this is right now, so let's actually, I'm going to take us out of play mode, but I'm going to stay in the game tab as opposed to the scene tab because I've got the little camera preview over here, but this is not really what I want. So I'm going to go to the game. And I'm going to change this Z. Z is in the transform of the main camera, right? The transform position, the Z is the forward and backward. So I'm just going to grab that Z and kind of slide it forward. Now, this seems to be... I'm going to, in a moment, make the camera so that it doesn't see him. If we're all the way up in, like we could put the camera inside him and we could see just a little bit of the sides and we can see the back of his eyeballs and his nose. This is kind of weird, right? You know what? Let's do this. Let's just make it, we're positioned 0, 0, 0. We're inside the character. The camera is inside. You know what? We may as well put the camera up a little bit so that it looks right through his eyeballs. And there's his eyeballs. Okay, camera is right where his eyeballs are. I don't like this. I don't want to see the nose. I don't want to see the brim of the hat. I don't want to see those little pupils out there. So let's get rid of that. In order to do that, this is a little bit complicated. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the camera's culling mask. I'm in the camera component in the inspector here, and culling mask is the third one down. Right now it's showing everything, and this is showing all the different layers that we have. Now, we haven't talked about layers yet. Every game object is in a certain layer, and that's right up here where its name is at the top of the inspector. There's a layer drop-down menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a layer. So I'm just going to click Add Layer at the bottom. And here in the inspector now, we're inspecting the layers that are available in the game. Layer 1 through 7 are for specific Unity purposes, and we don't get to use those. Layer number 8 is for post-processing, apparently. I'm just going to go to layer number 9, and I'm going to make it the player layer. So that's going to be a special layer just for our character to be on. Now that I've typed something in there, Unity will recognize that I intend to use this. And if I go back over here, I'm going to select my player. And instead of the player being in the default layer, I'm going to move him to the player layer. There you go. Now it's going to ask, do you want to set the layer to player layer for all the child objects as well? Yes, I do want the eyes and the nose and the feet and all that stuff to be moved to this layer. They're all part of the player, right? The main camera, well, you can't see it in the scene anyway. And when you're in the game, it's not a visible object. It's just the thing that lets us see. So it doesn't really matter whether it's in the layer or not. So I'm just going to hit yes, change children, and there we go. So you can tell that the player is in the player layer now because it says player up there. And if we check all the other game objects, they're also in the player layer now. So let's go back to the camera. And it has this culling mask. Right now it's showing everything, every layer that's available from this drop-down menu up here. 0, 1, 2. For some reason, we're not using number 3. We're not using number 6 and 7, but we're in layer 9. We don't want the camera to show us the player layer. So I'm just going to click that and uncheck it. And now the entire player is gone. We can't see him anymore. Piece of cake. All right. Let's see. What have I missed here? All right. So now when we go into play mode, the game starts, and now as we walk around, we can actually see where we're going. Excellent. This is exactly what we wanted. All right, onward and upward.